So here's the setup. I'm 17, been doing gymnastics since I was, 4. Mom says I started flipping off the couch before I learned to spell gym. It's regional finals, my biggest meet of the year, and if I nail it, I get scouted for state-level competitions. Maybe even a scholarship if some college coach squints hard enough. The gym is packed. I'm not exaggerating, people were sitting on the damn floor. Parents yelling names, banners flying, little girls in sparkly leotards doing cartwheels in the hallway like they're on meth. Pressure was palpable. My coach, Mr. Rudman, aka the human stress ball, is pacing in circles, mumbling combos to himself like he's about to cast a dark ritual. Meanwhile, I'm in the locker room, trying to get in the zone. Breathing. Stretching. Repeating my routine in my head. That's when Nate walks in. Nate is, well, he's my ride-or-die idiot. The kind of guy who once tried to snowboard down a grass hill on a cafeteria tray for science. He's a gymnast too, but less future Olympics and more future RedditHard. He strolls in like he owns the place, and from the second I see that dumb glint in his eye, I know he's up to something. Yo, you nervous? A little, I admit, which was a mistake. He grins, reaches into his hoodie pocket, and pulls out a tiny metal vape pen. Matte black. Evil as hell. Just a little something to take the edge off, he says, like we're not literally in a high school locker room about to perform in front of judges and old people with clipboards. Now, listen, I know it was dumb. I know. But in that moment, it didn't seem that dumb. Everyone's got pre-game rituals. Some pray, some meditate, some blast Eminem. Me? Apparently I decided to get absolutely baked out of my skull 5 minutes before tumbling in front of hundreds of people. We step into the bathroom, open the tiny window near the ceiling, and he hands me the pen. It smells like mango and regret. I take 2 hits. Smooth. Tingly. Harmless, right? Cut to 10 minutes later. I'm warming up on the spring floor, and everything feels off. Like the whole world is a second behind me. I'm doing toe touches, but it's like my body's lagging. Coach yells something and his voice echoes like he's in a damn cathedral. I swear the blue mat is pulsing. Someone's playlist is on in the background, but it keeps blending with my heartbeat and turning into Donkey Kong country music. But I can still move. I can still flip. Probably. They call my name. I step out. The lights hit me like a truck. The crowd is blurry. Everything smells like chalk and rubber and terror. But I keep walking, because if I stop, I'm going to melt into the mat and never return. Music starts. I think it's my track, but honestly it could have been the Minecraft theme for all I knew. I start my first pass, back handspring into a layout. Nailed it. Little wobbly on the landing, but I hear someone cheer. Feels good. I even wink at the judges. Or maybe I just blinked when I really slow, who knows? My confidence skyrockets. That's where everything went to hell. Second pass, the one I'd been training for months. Round off, back handspring, double full twist, step out. A big move. High risk. Coach said to save it for nationals, but Bake Me said, F***ck it, go viral. I launch. Mid-twist, I feel something shift. The ground spins sideways. I lose all sense of where up is. For a second, I feel weightless, like floating through space, majestic and free. And then? Slam. My face meets mat. No hands. No defense. Just a full-body sacrifice to the gods of gravity. I bounce once like a dropped sack of potatoes and then just stay there, face down, limbs spread like a crime scene chalk outline. Crowd goes dead silent. No one knows if it was part of the act. One judge literally mouths, "What the F***ck?" I'm still conscious, which is a surprise, but I don't want to move. Not from pain, I just feel like I shouldn't. Like my body was sending a firm email titled "Do not move." Next thing I know, there are hands on me. Coach yelling. EMTs checking my neck. Nate shouting from the sidelines. "Bro, you look like an airplane." And I, high as a space balloon, just whispered to the medic. "Am I still performing?" The medic looks at me like I asked if clouds were edible. They strap me to a board. Wheels under me. Flashing lights. I see the mat one last time and think, we had a good run, you and me. And then I'm gone. Waking up in a neck brace gives you two options: cry or cope. I chose to cope, mostly because crying made my face hurt. The first thing I noticed was the ceiling tiles. Off-white, dotted with weird brown specks that probably weren't blood, but you never really know in a hospital. I blinked a few times. My throat felt like I gargled sand. The air smelled like bleach and old plastic. And then, like a late notification in my brain, pain. Not sharp. Not instant. More like my whole neck had been clamped in a medieval vice for 5 hours. I tried to move. Bad idea. Even a twitch made me wince. My right arm worked, kind of. My left arm just existed. Legs? No idea. It was like trying to wiggle spaghetti with your mind. Panic set in real quick. Before I could spiral, a nurse walked in, maybe late 30s, short haircut, face like she's seen every dumb teenage accident known to man. "Oh hey, you're awake. That's good. Just breathe, okay?" I wanted to ask so many things. Am I paralyzed? Can I walk? Do I still have a spine? Instead, what came out was throat. Dry. She gave me water through a straw. It tasted like shame. Then she asked the usual concussion protocol stuff: name, date, where I was. High school gym. I fell. She raised an eyebrow but didn't push. Professionalism, I guess. But the way she paused after writing something down told me they already suspected something off. 10 minutes later, all hell broke loose. Enter my mom. I heard her voice before I saw her, high-pitched, furious, echoing down the hallway like a warning siren. She burst into the room like the Kool-Aid Man, except full of worry and pure rage. What the hell happened? Her eyes locked on me, then on the brace, then the 4 in my arm. It was like watching someone's heart break in real time and get replaced with a Molotov cocktail. "Are you okay? What did you do? Did you break something? Are you on drugs?" The nurse slowly vanished from the room like a ghost. Smart lady. I couldn't lie to my mom. I mean, I could, but not in that moment. Not with her standing there looking like she wanted to fight both me and gravity itself. I panicked. Before the meet. I made a mistake. You were high? Before competing? No words. Just a slow, sad nod. She sat down hard in the chair beside my bed, like the weight of my Damasery physically knocked the strength out of her. She didn't yell again. She didn't say anything at all. Just breathed, slow, shaky, trying not to lose it. And somehow, that was worse than the yelling. About half an hour later, the doctor came in. Older guy, looked like he had a PhD in delivering bad news in a calm voice. "Well," he said, not looking up from his clipboard, "your son was very lucky. He landed hard, but the spinal column is intact. There's compression in the C5 and C6 vertebrae, the neck bones, and swelling around the cord. No signs of a full break, and reflex response is good. But, we're keeping a close eye on everything." He paused for dramatic effect. The kind that makes your stomach drop. If the swelling increases, or if there's bleeding, mobility could be affected. But so far, and I stress so far, things look promising. My mom asked the important questions. Can he walk? Will he recover? How long will he be here? I didn't say much. I was too busy staring at the wall, thinking about how close I'd come to losing everything over a vape pen and a dumb choice. Later that night, after my vitals were checked for the 1000th time and a second nurse tried to cheer me up by calling me tough, my coach showed up. Coach Rudman didn't do hugs. He didn't do you okay, energy. The man operated on 90% caffeine and 10% disappointed sighs. He stood at the foot of my bed with his arms crossed, looking like he wanted to rip the floor out and make me do push-ups on the spot. "You want to explain what happened out there?" he asked, voice low but tight. I didn't even try to sugarcoat it. I got high before the routine. Silence. He stared at me for a long moment. No expression. No yelling. Just disappointment. Which was worse, honestly. "You realize you could have died, right?" "Yeah." "You almost snapped your damn neck like a toothpick, and for what? To take the edge off? To look cool?" "I wasn't trying to be cool," I muttered. "I was trying not to freak out." Another long pause. He ran a hand over his face. "You're one of the best kids I've ever coached. You've got talent. Real talent. But this might have cost you everything." And then, just like that, he left. No get well soon. No advice. Just that. I laid there in the silence, surrounded by beeping machines and the quiet hum of fluorescent lights. The weed was long gone. The confidence was gone. My scholarship dreams? Probably gone too. All I had left was a neck brace and the overwhelming feeling that I had just slammed the door on my own future, and I did it sober enough to know better. Coming back to school after slamming into the mat like a flying mattress was exactly as fun as you'd expect. Everyone had seen, everyone had heard, and everyone had an opinion. They gave me a wheelchair. Not the cool kind with rims and spinny tricks. Nope, the sad, squeaky, borrowed from the nurse's office type that smelled like Band-Aids and disinfectant. I rolled into homeroom like the ghost of bad decisions, my neck still wrapped in that giant foam brace like I had just been chewed up and spit out by a bear. Some people gasped. A few whispered. One dude, Kyle, the biggest douche in our grade, fake cough, 420 twist fail when I passed by. Hilarious, bro. My best friend Mel gave me a look that was somewhere between pity and "I told you so." "You look like a rejected action figure," she said. "Sick," I replied. "Do I come with regret accessories?" Honestly? I thought it would blow over fast. Schools forget things quick, right? Wrong. Word spreads like herpes in high school. Within hours, I was that kid who did a flip on weed and crashed. The gymnast who went splat. Wheelchair jackass. High flyer. Someone literally put my face on a gymnastics fails meme. I saw it taped on a locker like it was a damn wanted poster. It said, "When you believe you can fly, but gravity is petty as hell." Yeah. Love that for me. By the end of the day, I was a walking PSA. Teachers gave me the fake sympathetic look but said nothing. Students just stared, like I had horns. Or a third eye. Or like I'd shit my leotard and nobody wanted to say it out loud. Then came the meeting with the principal. She was this lady in her 50s with steel gray hair and glasses that made her look like she taught algebra and had personally survived 4 wars. Her office smelled like expired coffee and passive-aggressive authority. She sat down, folded her hands, and stared at me. "So," she said, "I assume you're aware that your incident has generated a lot of attention. Hard to miss. And I also assume you understand the gravity of competing while under the influence of a controlled substance." I swallowed. My throat felt like sandpaper. I didn't have the energy to lie. I made a stupid choice. "That's putting it mildly," she replied, sharp. "We have zero tolerance for drugs. Even if you were just nervous. Do you have any idea how lucky you are that you didn't break your spine permanently? Or that we're not facing a lawsuit?" Yes. "Do your parents know you're being considered for suspension?" Wait, what? Suspension? Possibly expulsion. That hit harder than the mat. My mom got called in. Again. She sat there tight-lipped, gripping her purse like she was imagining beating me with it. "We don't want to ruin his future," the principal continued. But this isn't just about him. This sets a precedent. Basically, they wanted to make an example out of me. Guy gets stoned, does a flip, almost dies? Let's parade him around like a warning sign. I ended up with a 2-week suspension, removal from the team, and an official note on my permanent record. Coach Rudman didn't even fight it. He just told me to clean out my locker. Said get well like he was signing off a newsletter he didn't want to write. That locker clean out? Might have been the worst part. I sat there in my dumb wheelchair, yanking out my leotard, tape rolls, chalk bag, and a pair of beat-up sneakers that still had blood on the laces. Every gymnast who walked by looked at me like I had some kind of gym plague. Nobody said a word. Just the sound of my squeaky-ass wheels as I rolled away like the saddest Olympic flame ever extinguished. When I got home, I didn't say much. I just sat in my room, staring at the ceiling, the same way I stared at the hospital tiles, blank, numb, stuck between what now, and how did it go this far? Funny how you think one dumb choice is just a little blip. A quick fix for nerves. Turns out, it was the first domino. And I knocked that shit over myself. 3 weeks deep. Neck brace still on. Still rolling like I just rage quit my legs. But mentally? Thrive mode, activated. I'd hit that point where the fear, the shame, and the self-pity had burned out. All that was left was a weird, crispy version of me that found it all kind of funny. Like, yeah, I crashed. I got high and fell out of the F*King sky like an expired drone. But somehow, I didn't break. Not fully. And once you realize the worst didn't kill you, you stop taking sh*T so seriously. At school, something weird started happening. People stopped looking at me like I was a tragic PSA, and started treating me like I was that dude. Not a clown. Not a loser. A legend. It started small. Freshman kid by the vending machine. Yo, you're the fall guy, right? Bro, respect. I blinked. Respect? Dude, that was the most badass thing I've ever seen. You flew like a F*King banshee. Didn't even scream. Just boom, full send. Another dude near the water fountain added. You went down like a champ, man. I've watched the gym cam footage like 5 times. It's art. And just like that, my fail stopped being a cautionary tale and became performance art. By Thursday, people were calling me things like the Human Cannonball, Matt Messiah, Chairman of Chaos. Someone in the drama club wrote a poem titled The Fall Before the Rise. There were memes. Hoodies. A kid had my face as his phone wallpaper like I was a damn rapper who dropped the mixtape of misfortune. Even Kyle, that dickhead who mocked me with 420 twist fail, came up and said, Yo, I was out of line. That crash? Kinda inspired me, not gonna lie. Like, if you can survive that, maybe I can pass calc. I didn't know whether to thank him or slap his soul out through his mouth. But I nodded. Because a win's a win. Then there was Nate, the chaos demon who got me high in the first place. He doubled down on the hype. Started calling himself my spiritual manager. Made stickers that said flip or die trying with my silhouette mid-fall. Sold them for $2 a pop. Sold out instantly. Dude, you don't get it, he told me. You're living proof that perfection is a scam. Everyone's so scared to mess up. You messed up with style. Honestly? I didn't hate that interpretation. And I won't lie, I started playing the role. Leaning back in my chair like a Bond villain in gym shorts. Throwing out quotes like, I didn't fall. I descended with emphasis. Or, pain is just the body applauding your commitment. People lapped it up. Teachers gave me side eyes. The principal refused to speak to me without a witness present. But I didn't care. I had freedom now. No more 6 a.m. practices. No more strict diets. No more Coach Rudman yelling point your damn toes like his life depended on it. Just me, my wheels, and a school full of confused kids who weren't sure if I was a cautionary tale or an underground icon. And the DMs. Oh God, the DMs. My inbox became a damn museum of weird energy. Some senior girl offered to push my chair for therapy purposes. A guy from AV Club wanted to animate my fall frame by frame in Blender. He sent me a preview with ragdoll physics and Looney Tunes sound effects. One stoner asked if I'd speak at his youth group about embracing chaos with grace. I said yes to all of it. What else was I gonna do? Sulk in my room while my spine slowly reinflated? Hell no! At home, even my mom chilled out a little. She was still mad, obviously. She gave me the look every time she saw the neck brace. But one night, I caught her watching that hallway camera video on her phone. She didn't even notice I was in the room. He flipped like a salmon, I heard her mumble. She tried to act mad when I laughed, but she laughed too. First time since the fall. And sure, some people still hated me. Coach Rudman ignored me in the hallway like I was air pollution. Some parents reportedly called me a bad influence and said I shouldn't be allowed on school grounds. But those people didn't matter anymore. Because here's the thing they didn't get. Yeah, IF asterisk cat up. Massively. But I owned it. I didn't lie. I didn't blame anyone. I didn't crawl into a shame hole. I just rolled forward. In my squeaky-ass wheelchair. With my dumbass neck brace. Grinning like a goblin. And honestly, I felt more me than I had in years. For weeks after the fall, things stopped feeling like an emergency. The neck brace was off, though I still wore it when I wanted to guilt-trip my teachers or get out of gym class. My back sounded like a bag of microwave popcorn when I stretched, but nothing was permanently wrecked. I could walk short distances like an elderly penguin with bad balance, but I stuck to the wheelchair for longer stuff. Not because I had to, but because I liked the energy. Something about rolling into a room like a dramatic entrance, it gave me purpose. And swagger. The school had moved on. My meme status faded. The stickers were peeling off lockers. Some new scandal hit, apparently a cheerleader hotboxed the choir closet with a vape pen the size of a lightsaber. I wasn't the hottest disaster anymore. Honestly? That was fine. For the first time since the incident, I had room to breathe. I wasn't obsessed with what I'd lost or how much I'd embarrassed myself. I wasn't looking over my shoulder for someone to say, "Hey, you're that guy who landed like a chicken nugget." I started watching practices again, not to sulk, just to watch. That's where I was when it happened. I was sitting in the hallway by the gym, sipping lukewarm juice through a straw that tasted like dust and plastic. A group of freshmen were tumbling. One kid totally biffed a pass, face straight into the mat. He popped up laughing, shook it off. I smirked. Then a voice behind me said, "You gonna critique that landing, or just enjoy the flashbacks?" I didn't need to turn to know who it was. Coach Rudman. I'd avoided him for weeks. Thought he hated me, honestly. When I did turn, he looked tired. Not angry. Just older than I remembered. We stared at each other like two people who'd both survived a car crash caused by mutual silence. He crossed his arms. "You thought I'd keep avoiding you?" I shrugged. "Wouldn't blame you." He nodded once. "Fair. But I figured I owed you a conversation." That conversation hit different. "I wasn't mad that you fell," he said. "I was mad that you gave up before you even started. You got scared, and instead of facing it, you ran. Straight into the mat." I let that sit. Because he wasn't wrong. I thought if I didn't perform perfectly, I didn't deserve to be here, I admitted. And being high made it feel like I had control. Which, clearly, I did not. He smirked, just slightly. Control's a lie. But so is fear. Then he asked something I didn't expect. "You thinking of coming back?" I blinked. "To gymnastics?" With what spine?" He snorted. "Not as a performer. As a coach. Advisor." Whatever. The guys look up to you. Even if they're laughing, they're listening. And honestly, they could use someone who knows what it's like to fail that loud and still show up. At first, I laughed. Me? Coach? What was I going to teach how to fall with flair? But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. I'd always been obsessed with the perfect routine, the perfect landing. But maybe my role now was to help someone else land better than I did. Maybe I didn't need to flip anymore to matter. I agreed. Not with a big dramatic yes, just a simple, screw it. I'm in. 2 weeks later, I was back in the gym. No brace, no pressure. Just a clipboard, some advice, and a bunch of wide-eyed freshmen looking at me like I was some kind of stunt prophet. One kid kept asking me about the moment in the air when you realized you were about to eat it. I said, it's peaceful. Like the split second before a sneeze, but with doom. I found my rhythm fast. Not in flips, in feedback. I spotted landings. Helped with breathing. Told kids that fear was fine, as long as they didn't let it drive. And when they messed up, I'd say, hey, you think that's bad? One time I hit the mat so hard I temporarily spoke in dial-up noises. They'd laugh, try again. I didn't realize it at first, but somewhere along the way, I stopped being the guy who crashed and became the guy who came back. Not in the same form, but maybe a better one. I wasn't chasing medals anymore. I was chasing moments, the ones where a scared kid nails something for the first time, and looks at you like you just handed them the sun. I'm not sure what comes next. College, maybe. Physical therapy certification? Maybe I start a YouTube channel called Falling with Flair and make millions. Who knows? But I know this, I flipped, I fell, and I rolled back into the picture. Not everyone gets that chance. I did. And I made it mine. Some people chase greatness. Me? I fumbled into it. Sideways. On fire. Laughing. And honestly? Still worth it.